Have you ever imagined a young woman, only 27 years old, suddenly facing news that could change her entire life? Amid peaceful dreams and happiness, she unexpectedly falls into a challenge that seems impossible to overcome. Rora's story is not just a journey of single motherhood, but a vivid testament to the power of will, love, and resilience. Join me as we explore each emotional step, the painful moments alongside the joyful ones, to see that no matter how harsh life gets, there is always a light guiding the way. Are you ready? Welcome to Kunzy Podcast English, and today's topic is single motherhood. Youthful dreams, the things no one teaches us. My name is Rora. I'm 27 years old. I live in a small town tucked somewhere in the vast land of America, a place where winters are freezing, but youthful dreams always burn warm inside the heart. As a little girl, I used to dream of a life so simple, yet so full. A white-painted house with a tiny garden, a kind husband who listens, and two bright-eyed children calling me Mom. In the pages of my childhood journal, I once wrote, "Loving someone kind and growing old together, how hard could it be?" But life doesn't always unfold the way we imagine it. I met Mark when I was 22. He was 25, tall, with soft brown hair, eyes as blue as the sky after rain, and a smile that made you feel seen, cherished, important. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. He asked for my number, and the next day, his first message popped up. "You looked beautiful when you smiled last night. Coffee sometime?" I read that text 3 times before quietly smiling and replying, "Sure." We met at a small cafe in town. Nothing fancy, just warm yellow lights and soft jazz humming in the background. We talked like we'd known each other for years. One meeting turned into many. He called every night just to say, "Good night, princess." He brought flowers to my workplace, remembered tiny details, like how I hated sweetened coffee or loved the smell of vanilla. After 3 months, I said the words first, "I love you." And he didn't hesitate. "I love you too, Rora." In that moment, I trusted him completely. I believed this was real. This was love. We stayed together for a year. I worked at a local grocery store. He worked as a mechanic, his hands always stained with grease, but his smile always bright. Life wasn't luxurious. There were no fancy vacations or expensive gifts, but I never felt poor. Because I had him. Because I loved him. And when you're in love, you think that's enough. The unexpected news and the first real heartbreak. It started like any other morning, but something inside me felt off. My body was heavy, my stomach uneasy. I thought maybe it was the flu. But the next morning, same thing. That strange fatigue, that quiet swirl in my stomach, it didn't go away. Sarah, my best friend since childhood, raised her eyebrows when I told her how I felt. "You might be pregnant," she said, almost playfully. I laughed, brushing it off. But my laughter was nervous. Inside, something whispered, "What if?" I bought a pregnancy test that afternoon. My hands trembled as I waited for the result. Time felt thick, like honey dragging through a spoon. And then, there it was. 2 lines. Clear. Bold. Unmistakable. I stared at the test, frozen. The world felt suddenly quiet. Too quiet. My heart was pounding, but everything around me was still. That evening, I went to Mark's house. I sat on the couch, trying to find the right words. My voice barely made a sound. "I have something to tell you." He looked up at me, his expression unreadable. "Are you sure?" he asked after a pause. I nodded slowly. "I took the test. I'm sure." He stood up and walked to the window. He didn't look at me, just stood there, hands in his pockets, staring into the dark night. Then he said, quietly but firmly, This isn't the right time. I'm not ready to be a father." His words hit me like cold water poured over my chest. My hands went cold. I could barely breathe. "But we love each other," I whispered, hoping, begging, needing. He didn't answer that. He just said, "I need time to think." That night, he didn't hold me, didn't kiss my forehead like he always did before we fell asleep. He turned to the other side, silent. The distance between our bodies in that bed felt like an ocean. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of him leaving. No hug, no goodbye, just a faint "see you later" as he grabbed his keys and walked out. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. Nothing would ever be the same again. Abandoned at my most vulnerable. I used to believe that if two people loved each other enough, they would never walk away. But the truth is, love is not always enough. After that night, Mark slowly disappeared from my life, as if he had never been a part of it. The phone calls stopped. No more goodnight texts. No more simple dates that once made my heart flutter. All that was left was silence. Heavy, cold silence that felt like it could crush me. I texted him many times. Short messages, gentle ones, sometimes long paragraphs soaked in tears. But he didn't reply. A part of me still wanted to believe that maybe he just needed time, that he was thinking things through, just like he said. But deep down, I felt it. I was being left behind, alone, with something inside me that was growing with every passing day. I waited. 1 week, then 2, until I couldn't bear the silence any longer. I decided to go to his house. I stood in front of the familiar door, the door to the place that once held so many warm memories. I knocked. Twice. No answer. I sent him a message. "I'm outside. Can we talk?" Still no reply. I waited a few more minutes, then walked away. That was the last time I reached out. That night, I sat on my bed, alone, in my room, my eyes blankly staring out the window. The night passed slowly, almost as if the darkness itself was mourning with me. I opened my phone and scrolled through old messages. His words, "I miss you. I love you so much. I'll always be here." And then a new message appeared. From Mark. Just one sentence. "I can't do this. I'm sorry." My body froze. My hands trembled. My heart felt like it was being squeezed. A tear rolled down my cheek and landed on the screen. Then another and another. I couldn't stop. I broke down, sobbing like a child. The kind of crying that comes from a place so deep you didn't even know existed. The kind that comes when you've lost more than just a person, you've lost a dream. I cried for hours. I don't even remember how long. Only that it felt endless. My heart kept whispering questions that had no answers. Why? Why would he leave me? Why now, when I need him the most? A few days later, I gathered the courage to tell my parents. I was terrified. I feared the disappointment in my father's eyes, the sorrow in my mother's voice. But when I told them, when I finally said it out loud that I was pregnant and that Mark had left me, my mother didn't scold me. She didn't even speak. She held me and cried with me. She cried as if my pain was hers too. She wrapped her arms around me tightly, as if trying to shield me from a world that had just betrayed me. My father was silent for a long time. Then he softly said, "We'll always be here for you, Rora." That sentence, simple as it was, became the anchor I clung to. I cried again. But this time, there was something warm in my tears. Something that felt like hope. A small light flickering in the darkness. I moved back in with my parents. The day I returned felt like I was taking a step backward, as if I was a child again. But then I realized it wasn't a step back. It was the beginning of a new path, a new journey, a journey into motherhood. In the days that followed, I began going for prenatal checkups, Each time I saw my baby on the screen, my heart felt a little more whole. That tiny little being growing inside me, that flickering heartbeat, it was all real. The first time I heard the heartbeat, I froze, then cried. That sound, so small to the world, was everything to me. It was the first time my baby spoke to me. A quiet message, "Mom, I'm here. You're not alone anymore." I laughed through my tears in the ultrasound room. The nurse smiled kindly and I nodded at her, clutching that tiny black and white photo like I was holding the whole universe. I started writing a journal for my baby, for myself, for this new chapter. Every day, I wrote about what I ate, how I felt, what I dreamed. I wrote about my fears, my sleepless nights, my moments of weakness, and how I was trying every day to be strong. Because now, I wasn't living just for me anymore. I was living for both of us. The journey of single motherhood begins. I kept working at the store until my belly grew too big to keep my balance. I started preparing everything for the day my baby would arrive, buying tiny clothes, choosing a soft crib so she could sleep peacefully, trying my best to be ready to welcome her into the world. Every item I picked carried a hope, a promise that even if life wasn't perfect yet, I would do everything to love and care for my child. One night, sudden intense pain hit me. I gripped my mother's hand, overwhelmed by fear and panic. Mom didn't say much, just quietly took me to the hospital. The cold white lights and the quick footsteps of nurses made my heart race. A nurse gently told me, "Tonight, your baby will be born." My whole body trembled. The pain was almost unbearable. But with my mother by my side, I found strength to hold on amidst the storm of emotions. At that moment, when the tiny cry echoed through the room, everything seemed to light up. The nurse smiled. "It's a baby girl." I could hardly believe my eyes when they placed the tiny, soft, warm bundle on my chest. That feeling was magical, so real and so close. I looked at her and whispered, "Hello, my love. I am your mother." Those words were a promise, a vow that no matter what life throws at us, I would be her protector and unconditional source of love. I named her Emma. She was pure and beautiful, her bright eyes shining like a small ray of light in my life. I stayed at the hospital for 2 days to recover. Mom was always there, helping me care for Emma, sharing the worries and exhaustion. But when night fell, with just Emma and me in the quiet room, I felt deeply the loneliness of being a single mother. Emma cried often, her cries breaking my heart into pieces. I was exhausted from endless sleepless nights, my hands and body worn out from changing diapers, feeding, and comforting her each night. There were moments when I sat on the bed, silent tears streaming down my shoulders, feeling utterly drained. But then I looked at her, kissed her tiny forehead, and whispered, "Mom loves you." Those words gave me strength, a small flame lighting up my heart in the dark loneliness. Day by day, I learned to be a mother, a strong woman not only for myself but for my little daughter. The journey of single motherhood was full of challenges, tears, and loneliness, but also filled with love and hope that never fades. No father, but a mother. Mark never came. No phone calls, no texts, no questions about Emma's well-being. One afternoon, I caught sight of him walking down the street. Our eyes met for a fleeting second. Then he quickly looked away and kept walking as if I didn't exist. My heart ached with 1,000 unspoken words. I wanted to scream at him, "How could you leave your own child behind?" But instead, I lowered my gaze to Emma sleeping quietly in her stroller, feeling a mix of sorrow and fierce protectiveness. When Emma was just 5 months old, I had to return to work. My mother stepped in to care for her while I was away. Every minute I spent apart from Emma felt like an eternity. I missed her tiny hands, her innocent smiles, and the way she would look up at me with trust in her eyes. But reality was harsh. Bills needed to be paid, food needed to be on the table, and a future needed to be built. I forced a smile at work, greeted customers warmly, and tried to push my exhaustion aside. Yet every night when I came home, fatigue weighed down my body and soul like a heavy cloak. Despite the exhaustion, I still cooked dinner, tidied the house, gave Emma her bath, and rocked her gently until she fell asleep. There was no time for breaks, no time to catch my breath. Many nights, I sat alone in the kitchen after Emma's quiet breathing filled the room, holding a cold cup of tea in my hands. I would stare blankly at the walls, feeling overwhelmed but refusing to give up. In those moments, I whispered to myself softly, "Rora, you're tired. You're exhausted. But you are strong. You are doing your best, and that's enough." It wasn't easy. There were tears I hid so Emma wouldn't hear. There were fears about the future that kept me awake. But each morning, I woke up and chose to keep going. For Emma, for myself. Being a mother without a father around was a challenge I never expected to face so soon. Yet every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every lonely moment shaped me into a woman who could stand tall on her own. And I promised myself that no matter what, I would give Emma all the love and strength she deserved. The great love from a little soul, Emma grew so fast. She was full of laughter, her tiny hands exploring the world around her. At 6 months, she could sit up and play with her toys. I watched her with a smile that could light up the darkest days. Sometimes tears welled up in my eyes, tears of pride and joy that no hardship could ever take away. Despite the exhaustion, despite the endless challenges, I kept pushing forward because of her. Old friends rarely came by anymore. They had their own lives, full of parties and travels, sharing happy photos on social media. Meanwhile, I stayed home, watching cartoons with Emma, singing lullabies when she cried, whispering softly, "You are never alone. Mommy is right here." My mother became my rock. She held Emma when I needed a moment to breathe, cooked meals when I was too tired to stand. My father, though quiet, found ways to make Emma giggle uncontrollably with his playful antics. Watching their love for my daughter made my heart swell with gratitude. In those moments, I understood. Love doesn't come in grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It comes from the small, everyday acts, the sleepless nights, the quiet encouragement, the unshakable presence beside a tiny soul who depends on you completely. Emma's love was my greatest strength, the light that guided me through the storm, and for that, I was endlessly thankful. Standing strong for my daughter. Money was always tight. The small wages from the store never seemed to stretch far enough. I bought only what Emma needed: diapers, formula, warm clothes, and nothing extra for myself. I wore old, worn-out clothes without caring about appearances. My world had narrowed to one single focus: my daughter. When Emma fell ill, I had to miss work. My boss wasn't happy. "You've been taking too many days off," he warned. "Be careful." The fear of losing my job haunted me. I needed that job for Emma's sake. Every paycheck was a lifeline for her survival and comfort. I remember the first time Emma started to stand, clutching on to the edge of a chair. I clapped my hands and cheered. "Good job, my baby!" Her laugh filled the room, a sound so pure and bright it chased away every shadow of doubt. That laughter was my strength, the fire that kept me going. One night, Emma had a fever. Her tiny head felt hot, and she was restless, crying out in discomfort. I stayed awake all night, rocking her gently, whispering soothing words into the dark. The next morning, we went to the doctor, who said it was just a virus. Relief flooded through me like a river breaking through a dam. Emma took her first steps at 13 months. She fell many times, but each time she got back up. I clapped for her, tears welling up as she smiled brightly. I whispered, "You are so brave, my little warrior." That bravery, it wasn't just hers, but ours. Every day I stood strong for her, fought through exhaustion, fear, and uncertainty, because giving up was never an option. I was her mother, her protector, her first home in this vast, unpredictable world. And no matter what storms came, I would always stand tall for my daughter. Through every challenge, I learned that love fuels courage, and with that love, we can face anything. Mother and daughter, that's enough. Emma turned 2. She had started to speak a few simple words. Mama, milk. She loved to dance around the room, playing with shoes, trying to squeeze her tiny feet into my big, worn-out slippers. I would laugh softly at her innocent antics, the simple joys that filled our small world with light. One Sunday, I took Emma to the park. She ran freely over the green grass, waving excitedly to other children playing nearby. I sat on a weathered bench, feeling the warm sunlight on my face, a rare moment of peace in the chaos of life. But then I saw him, Mark. He was walking hand in hand with a woman with fiery red hair. My heart clenched. I quickly turned my head away. Emma didn't know him, didn't understand what he meant. He was her father in name only, a shadow that never truly stood beside us. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream or beg fate for answers. I simply accepted the truth. He had made his choice. He walked away, and I would not wait for him. I would not plead for what he refused to give. I looked down at Emma, sleeping so peacefully in her crib, her little chest rising and falling with each breath, the soft rise and fall that was the rhythm of my life now. I whispered gently in the quiet room, "You have me, and that's enough." Because love doesn't always come wrapped in perfect packages. Sometimes it's just the quiet strength of a mother who refuses to give up, the warmth of a heart that beats only for her child. We are enough, just the two of us, standing together against the world. And with that love, we will rise, we will grow, and nothing can break us. This is our story. This is our strength. The small home, a new beginning. A few days later, a letter arrived from the housing office. I had been granted a small apartment, modest, humble, and far from the spacious homes others might dream of, but it was mine. Just the thought made my heart race with excitement and hope. It was a tangible symbol that despite everything, Emma and I were stepping into a new chapter, a fresh start. My family rallied around me to help with the move. It wasn't easy, carrying boxes, arranging furniture in the tiny rooms, but their support filled the space with warmth. Emma had her own little corner with a small bed, some toys, and a soft blanket. I carefully hung a framed photo of the two of us on the table, a simple yet powerful reminder of how far we'd come through every struggle and tear. That first night, without a dining table or fancy chairs, we sat on the cold floor. We ate plain bread and sipped lukewarm tea. Emma's small hand clumsily dropped her spoon, and then she burst into an infectious laugh, filling the quiet room with pure joy. I bent down to pick up the spoon, my heart swelling with love and pride. I smiled and whispered softly, "This is our home now." It wasn't just a roof over our heads. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. That small apartment represented safety, independence, and the promise of building something better. It was a place where I could create memories with Emma, where I could teach her about courage, love, and the strength to keep moving forward. Every scratch on the wall, every little corner held the story of our journey, one of struggle, survival, and unwavering love. Though the space was small, the dreams it held were enormous. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would still be challenges, sleepless nights, and moments of doubt. But here in this humble home, I found a new kind of strength. Emma and I had each other, and that was enough to face anything life threw our way. This small apartment wasn't just where we lived. It was where hope was reborn, where a tired mother found her courage again, and where a little girl's laughter turned a simple room into a place filled with love. This was the beginning of everything, the first step toward a future we would build together, brick by brick, day by day. Rora and Emma's journey is a living testament to the power of love and resilience in the face of adversity. Despite all the hardships and shortages, with nothing but love and determination, they have built a true home, not just a small apartment, but a haven of hope and happiness. This story is a reminder that no matter what life throws at you, as long as you don't give up, keep believing, and love with all your heart, you will find the light that guides your way. If this story has touched your heart, please hit the like button to show your support. Share it to spread these positive values to more people. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next inspiring stories. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next videos.